All right, so for our combat stretch, we're just going to be working on some range of motion on our ankle. So your back ankle, you're just going to sit on. That's going to get you a really good stretch on top of the ankle. However, while we do that, we're really just going to be working on this front ankle. So with most of our weight on that front ankle, we're just going to start to rock back and forth in and out of your end range. And once you find that end range, we're just going to lift our toes off the ground, at least try to, and then you're going to feel this entire front of the shin start to light up. And what that's doing is it's essentially we're just trying to stimulate some strength and stability in that end range so that our body can become more comfortable exploring deeper ranges. And now from here, we're just going to start to strengthen our feet and the arches of our foot. So from here, you can just hang out and rock back and forth. Get real comfortable just being on the balls of your feet. And you can pretty much freestyle this. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to place our hands on the ground, and then we're just going to go knee taps. And then from here, coming in and out, we're just going to start to feel the bottoms of your feet really start to stretch and work. And then from this position, we're just going to drive our big toe through the floor, and that is what's going to propel us forward and back. Really start to own and make that foot do a lot of the work, because good foot and ankle strength is really vital. Now from here, we're just going to get into some ankle and hamstring flosses. So starting off, we're going to just go onto the balls of our feet, full knee bend, and then full straight. And then once you've done a couple of reps, from here, we're going to lift our toes off the ground, rotate, and come back down. Full knee bend, full straighten, toes up, rotate, and down. Just going to really start to encourage some movement and fluidity in the ankles and the knees. Because after all, movement. For our full squat mobility, we're going to take a nice shoulder width apart. We're going to go hands up, touch the floor, get into as low as you can, and then we're just going to get our elbows pushed up against our knees. We're going to rock to one side and the other. And from there, we're going to go one arm up, second, and out. And then coming in again, up as high as we can, down, full squat, push into the knees, really pry them apart, then one arm up, second arm, out. So world's greatest stretch with rotation. What we're going to start off with is our back knee on the ground, and what we're going to start with is we're going to do some circles. Just get that hip moving. The hip, after all, is a ball and socket joint, so it should be trained as such. Switch sides. Do that on both sides. Again, ball and socket joint, so it should rotate like a ball and socket. Once we've got a few there, we're going to get into our classic world's greatest stretch. We're going to fight to get that back knee as straight as we can, and inside shoulder is going to drop, and then reach up as high as we can. Get the elbow to touch if you can, and all the way up. Again, other side. We're getting up. Back knee as straight as we can. Front hands planted right in line with our front foot. elbow touching the ground if you can, and then up as high as we can. For our single leg RDL, we're just going into a quad stretch, and then outside leg, outside hand, straight down and out. And then we really want to just observe that front hip, knee, and ankle, making sure those are all straight up and down. We don't want to start to see that knee start to cave in too much. So make sure that is all aligned. So quad stretch, RDL, and out. And then switch sides. And you might notice if you have one side, we all have that one side that's just a little bit weaker and a little less stable than the other. So again, really observe to see which side tends to cave in or out for you, and really fight to keep all of that aligned. And if you have one side that's a little less stable than the other, there's nothing wrong with doing an extra set on that side so that you can start to balance some of those things out. So for our 90-90s, key here is going to be, we'll be exploring just internal and external rotation of the hip. So this move is great because it accomplishes both. So first, 90 degrees, chest up nice and tall, facing this front knee. And then from here, this back leg is going to start to do all the work. We're going to start to express internal and then external rotation. So first part of this move is just an internal for 5 seconds, and then an external for 5 seconds. And from there, we're just going to anchor this knee down, lean forward, and then you're going to start to feel the outside of this front hip work and stretch. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to activate that front hip while in that stretch position by driving our knee into the ground for a count of 5. And then we're going to rotate to the other side. Again, same thing. We're looking at internal and external rotation here. So this back leg, we're going to start to internally rotate, and then externally rotate, internally rotate for 5, and then externally rotate for 5. And then driving this back knee to the ground, we're going to lean into that front hip. I'm going to feel that outer glute start to stretch. And then from there, we're going to activate that same hip by driving our knee into the ground for 5. You really just want to get a feel for what it feels like to get in and out of internal and external rotation. You can work on just the waves. Keeping your hands anchored behind you for assistance if needed, and then having your heels be sort of your pivot point, getting internal and external rotation at the same time.